Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Open Heart Books. I'm David and today is a new day and another book review, so let's get to it. I'm going to do A Boy Called Bat by Elena K. Arnold. This is the story about a boy named Bigsby Alexander Tam, whose mother is a veterinarian who rescues a skunk from a tragic accident, and Bigsby has to convince his mother that he will be a good caretaker for the skunk, who he eventually names Thor, before giving it up to a rescue shelter. My mother is the one who recommended this book to me simply because a lot of her nurse colleagues read the book and enjoyed it as well, and also Bigsby has Asperger's syndrome, and for someone who has a congenital heart defect and is on the autism spectrum, there are a lot of characteristics and behavioral traits that I read about Bigsby that I could relate to, so let's get to it. I'm not going to give a huge in-depth analysis of it, but there are just particular scenes that stuck out to me, so let's go down that road of psychology. Yeah, I'm going there, mother. Okay, as you can probably tell if you've read the book, you see that Bigsby is a very inquisitive person. He's a very deep thinker, and throughout the story, he tries to convince his mother that he'll be a good caretaker to Thor, the skunk, and he does so by eventually reaching out to a skunk expert, and he looks up random intellectual facts in the encyclopedia and finds the skunk expert and emails him to ask him if keeping a skunk as a pet is a good idea. And he also has a sister named Janie who he annoys once in a while. Don't you guys like the birds? I know, it's really nice. But some behavioral traits that I liked were, you see how Bigsby doesn't like doing the laundry, he doesn't like to be touched. His professor and principal try to touch him once in a while, just like pat him on the head and like looking over his shoulder, and he doesn't really like that. And there's a moment when there's a group project that his professor, Mr. Grayson, assigns the class, and he doesn't want to be a part of it. He'd rather work alone because he likes to be alone and he's shy. And there are moments when he is unable to misinterpret his words, and he unintentionally insults his friends. There's a scene in the cafeteria where he's talking to his friend Luca, who's a girl, about her choice of school lunch, and it upsets her, and she runs off into the bathroom, and he doesn't understand what he had said that made her cry. So, and another thing is people with Asperger's who are very prone to be preoccupied. He's very preoccupied with the idea of wanting to be at home and not at school. Whenever he's at home or with his dad, because his parents are divorcing, he'd rather be with the skunk because he wants to play with the skunk, feed the skunk, bond with the skunk, you know. And anytime that he's away from the skunk, that's all he could think about. And there are moments when he becomes so obsessed with Thor, the skunk, that he again picks up an encyclopedia and decides to read random facts about it. He goes on YouTube and watches YouTube videos about skunks, and he shoots out random facts to his sister and his mother to show off his intelligence, and his sister is kind of annoyed by it, that he doesn't understand like the present situation that him and his sister are involved in. he just tries to throw out some random facts just to prove his point, and his sister doesn't really care. Like, there's a scene when he's trying to argue the point of, like, not wanting to wash his sister's clothes and throw the clothes in the laundry because Thor's smell is gonna get washed off, and he doesn't want that, and she gets annoyed by it, and then he makes this comment of, you know, of something about it, and she doesn't care. Yes. Oh, and another thing toward the end of the book that really struck me was him trying to decipher what friendship is, because there's a scene when his mother, like, tells her what she sees in his eyes, which is honesty and kindness, and all he says is, my eyes are hazel and they're brown, you know. And then toward the end, he is trying to understand if his friend Israel, who wants to come over to the house and just play with the skunk and bond with the skunk, if he's trustworthy, if his friend Israel is trustworthy and would not hurt the skunk, and he can't do it. He doesn't know if Israel is his friend, even though he has the same interests as him and he's kind to him, you know. And so what he does is he reflects back on his mother and his sister and Lawrence, who is one of his mother's veterinary colleagues, just to remember how they held the skunk and were gentle with it, and that's how Israel is going to be with Thor as well, very gentle. So it's only by Israel's hands that he's able to understand that Israel is trustworthy and is a friend. Because another, I guess, character trait of people with Asperger's is, you know, lack of eye contact, or lack of conceptual understanding, you know. So him picking out a specific moment or memory to connect with, hence Israel's hands and Janie's hands and his mother's hands and Lawrence's hands, he's able to feel comfortable around Israel. So that was nice. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can remember. I wrote down some notes, but let's see if I missed anything. No, I don't think so. And I just guess one more thing I could add is losing focus. Like I said earlier, he's preoccupied with trying to make sure that his mother knows that he'll be a good caretaker for the skunk. And there are moments when his mother is not sure of that, but he presses her and tries to convince her otherwise. So again, it's just a very cute story. My mother recommended it. It's called A Boy Called Bat by Elena K. Arnold. It's a kid's book for 6 to 10-year-olds. So it's a very fun, quick read. Alright. Hope you guys liked my recommendation. Bye. Oh, and one more thing. I really, really like the fact that characters with medical conditions or who are just mentally or physically different in any way are being positively represented in books. You know, we need more of that. We need more diversity in characters, in literature, and in film too. So, good job, Elena. So, alright. Thanks, guys. Bye.